Hey Cancers, this is Hal for HES Ultimage, and this is your channeled forecast for the month of November. Hey guys, so I will not be doing long intros anymore. I learned my lesson there, alright? Just a few minutes, and then we'll be moving on. Um, First off, I am no longer using Tarot and Oracle cards. I've outgrown them. I don't need them anymore. I'm pretty much direct channeling at this point. I created a deck of index cards that I am using as my kind of channeling aid right now. But yeah, and maybe eventually I might make a deck of it because I really like the archetypes and the structure, but I am no longer using Tarot and Oracle cards. I'm just giving the message to you straight, okay, guys? Other thing, I have introduced these new mini readings that are only $20 each. They're one short question and mini monthly. They've been very popular so far, and only my subscribers knew about it until now. So I'm very happy to be able to offer that now because it is actually the lowest price I've ever offered in my entire career, including when I first debuted. It's just now I can give much shorter, much more concise messages that I feel satisfied and confident with the quality level of to be able to offer that price for that amount of minutes and that amount of time. And now all the readings have time estimates too. And they don't replace the large readings, but it's just a great opportunity. Now, you know, there are that many more people who can take advantage of getting guidance from me, and I'm really happy to be able to offer it, so I hope you'll take advantage of that. Okay. All right, so that said, we're going to get into your message. All right? Okay, so, and this is how it is now. I just get the key points, and then I talk it out for you, and, you know, I still have my side of channeling to guide me through and make sure everything's, you know, on point, but here we go. All right, so, for Cancers in November, one of the high energies here is chase, okay? So, like, chasing something. In your case, it has to do with personal development when it comes to feeling vulnerable, okay? Now, I'm going to go into greater detail about that, then I'll give you some examples and everything since everybody knows I love my examples, okay? And I like to illustrate how this might play out for you, okay? All right, so from that chase energy, it was the redistribute, and then it was connected to the energy of naked, which was the idea of, okay, having to work on being comfortable with being more vulnerable, um, and that it's a good idea because you need to think about how you feel, okay? Because this is the other thing that was big with this first part. You must really think about how you feel when you're put into a situation that makes you feel exposed, okay? So literally in this case, you're kind of going into it's like a simulation, if you will, in your mind and seeing how do you react and how do you, I would think it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, you know? What kind of gets you when it comes to being completely authentic, you know, or being, okay, this is how I'm going to put it, being completely authentic to the point that you feel uncomfortable or scared about how you're going to be viewed or judged, okay? Because this is tied into this energy, okay? I feel like because there is fear around vulnerability and being exposed or being seen, because that's the other thing, it was the naked energy, which made me feel like it really has to do with being exposed for truth, really. Yeah. And being exposed for being who you really are, for your true intentions, for your true beliefs, that there is fear around that, and that has to be addressed and worked upon, okay? Um, Give me a second, and I already have in here, okay, it's a tricky process, all right? It does take time to work through these kinds of patterns, okay? Because I want to say pattern because when I said knee-jerk reaction, it's like a reflex, you know, when people have fears around sharing truths about who they are that they might not be confident other people would accept or, you know, or understand, okay? And I mean, for me personally, I'm bisexual. Sometimes that's a thing that I used to be, like, trepidatious about disclosing to people. And, you know, being a channeler can be one of those other interesting things. And everybody has that, okay? So it's like, what is it for you, really, that you feel some form of caution or fear or insecurity about admitting a hard truth about who you are? Like, not even a hard truth, just a genuine, unguarded truth about who you are and your identity and what you believe in, or what you, even just little things too. Yeah. But, because it functions on all levels of frequency, but I really am getting that it's the deep stuff that we really do have to think about most for November for Cancers. Okay, give me a second. Okay, all right, because I'm going to get in one of these other key points, and then we'll start to elaborate on a little bit more here. Okay, next key point is, let's be a little more cheerful and a little more smiley about things. So this is a different kind of key point for November. Things can get kind of heavy. I know, especially when you've got any bit of water sign in you, things can get heavy. Because I've got some Pisces in me. That, you know, sometimes things can seem more heavy or labored, or, you know, morose than they actually are. And sometimes it's hard because, like, we're a little more, I would say, sensitive to changes in our emotions. That sometimes it's hard for us to just stay in the happy place or stay in the cheerful, carefree zone. Because, you know, the second that one thought pops into your head, then you get insecure, and you start to go into the dark cycle. It's kind of like a whirlpool if we're talking about water signs. Let's think about this playing into that vulnerability thing too, just to draw another connection to that area, because that is one of the most important key points of November for you. That, you know, it can be hard sometimes to feel perfectly confident or perfectly secure in who you are, and we should work harder to get into that place. Okay, so make that part of your goals too. That, you know, being more confident, just being very upfront and forthcoming about who you are, what your intentions are, what your feelings are, okay? All right. Now, give me 1 second because there's a little bit more here. Okay, carrying off into that smiley energy and the light and free energy, carefree energy, casual energy, etc. I got being social or nonchalant, which I already mentioned, is like a marathon for water signs at times. Because again, we find it very hard to just push our feelings down. They're kind of always on the surface, and they're always shifting and changing, like the tides, you know? Or like, you know, imagine that there are lots of boats running on our river or our ocean or whatever. River's probably better if you're using a boat analogy, I guess. But that each time that one of them passes, and this could be a thought or a feeling or a person or a thing, that it sets off all of these ripples and currents that wind up like freaking us out and making us have all these feelings, and then it distracts us from just being like, oh, life is just life and nothing's bothering me and I should just be focusing on what I'm doing. Like, that's where it becomes the marathon mentality. It's like we need to be able to still ourselves a little more, you know, in order to just be a little more, you know, again, carefree and a little more optimistic. I wouldn't even say optimistic, just not letting stuff get us down or distract us or make us feel, again, insecurity being one of the key flavors with that identity thing. Remember that, okay? That, you know, you can't let these, like, waves distract you from the goal of being able to be more forthcoming in your disclosures about your identity and your beliefs, okay? Because again, I feel that there's hiding there that needs to be addressed and then overcome, all right? All right, give me 1 second. I just want to make sure there's a little bit more here with this, and then we've got a little extra, okay? Okay, there we go. If you do not work on being more exposed, you will fall into a pattern, a bad pattern of hiding yourself, okay? And I knew this was kind of coming, but that's the exact wording that I got on it. So hiding yourself is never healthy, guys. like, there are extenuating circumstances, and I mean, to me, I cite these, as mine, and everybody has different ones, but to me, unless I am facing the, possibility of violence or, you know, somebody being fired from their work or something like that because of that kind of disclosure, that would be one thing. But it's like, just because people might not like what you say or what you represent, that doesn't mean that that's life or death, you know? And there are always ways to gauge that for yourself, but I think most people can probably get away with being perfectly authentic most of the time. And it's just like, you know, there's a matter of those few like exceptional moments where you might choose to, you know, do a non-disclosure and hold something back simply because of a survivalist kind of thing. But otherwise, you know, if it's just fear of judgment alone, that's really not enough. And this is the other thing, and I've always believed this, and I'm not sure if I've ever gotten to say this in a video, but, you know, truth is the only way, I think. You know, like, the only way to live, the only way to function. You know, lying or okay, it's not lying that I feel from what this month is representing for you guys. It's, failure to be transparent because of fear of being judged, okay? Or fear of everybody sees me and, like, okay, with that naked analogy, it's kind of the idea of, like, everybody sees my body and I can't hide anything. And then I have to, like, realize that there are gonna be people who accept me for who I am or what I believe in, and people who don't accept me for who I am and what I believe in. Um, and, you know, this dips into a lot of different areas of life, but I would leave it at, self, you know, identity and, you know, beliefs, all of that other kind of thing, like, ideals, you know? But the idea is, if people don't accept you, then, you know, that's not the end of the world, because you need to be able to be authentic in order to have a more authentic existence, okay? Because here's what happens with, um, okay, hiding things under the surface, okay? Or for other people, willfully concealing things. It always comes back, and it was a complete waste of time, you know? Um, you know, you just wind up getting into this cycle where it's like you just could have been honest and saved a lot of time and energy than tried to hide yourself to please other people or to not feel like you were put on the spot or to not feel like you were made somehow vulnerable, weak, or exposed in a way that you felt like you would be either judged or ridiculed, okay? Again, this month it's about overcoming those patterns, and it's a process, because that's the other thing. The chase energy shows it is a process, and it is something that you might not catch on the first grab, you know? So chase that thing, you know, when it comes to being more transparent, authentic, exposed, all right? Okay, for the select few, this is a new thing. I'm getting certain channels that I'm literally getting, this is only for certain people, but I have to say it, okay? For some people this month, under the sign of Cancer, you feel misunderstood. You should really get out of your comfort zone, okay? So, literally, and we've been talking a lot about the different shades this takes on, but misunderstanding, feeling like people don't understand you, don't get you, whatever, taking a step out of your comfort zone, maybe you will be surprised about how people respond and your own courage as a result. All right, so that said, guys, I do personal readings. If you want one, hit the link below or go to hesultimage.com, spelled just like my channel, and I will see you later.